Medical Intuitive Insights with your host, Dr. Gloria Warren, is a program that presents topics on medical intuition, holistic opportunities outside of mainstream society, and scientific research as applied today. Topics range from online intuitive readings to interviews unveiling alternative healing modalities and discussing them with inspirational leaders. Dr. Warren is the bridge within holistic arts while stressing the balance between the spiritual and physical self. So now, please welcome the host of Medical Intuitive Insights, Dr. Gloria Warren.
Are you tired of getting vague answers on why you are exhausted? Does getting out of bed feel like you're lifting a mountain every single morning? This is why you're here. Welcome to Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria C. Warren. You know, there's so much to be said about having chronic fatigue syndrome. And this is why I invited a guest on today, Peggy Smith, Nurse Peggy, as I call her. She actually has a show that she does as well. Peggy, are you there?
I am, yes. Hello,
Great.
how are you? Thanks for having me today.
Oh, my pleasure, of course. Can you tell me a little bit about your show before we begin?
Sure. I am the host of The Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith. I've been a registered nurse almost 5 decades. It sounds so long. And I've been a holistic practitioner for about half of that time, in addition to still actively engaged in regular clinical activities as a nurse. And we try to just educate people on complementary and alternative options, and also a lot of patient advocacy topics.
Wonderful. We're going to get more into that. But first, I am actually going to do you a favor here. Not necessarily a favor. You're doing me a favor. You're on my show. Thank you very much for being here, by the way. So we are talking about chronic fatigue syndrome, and Peggy has volunteered to be my patient today for a mini medical intuitive reading. So, of course, she sent me some photographs yesterday, and I just had a chance to look them over so that we go through this reading much faster than usual, but at least you get a taste of what I do. I'm a medical intuitive. I use my intuition. I'm a reverend, I'm a scientist, and this and that. You know, you ever want to know that, you can always text me 715-892-7500. However, I'm going to use remote viewing as well and give some answers here to Peggy with her situation and problem. By the way, let's see if you can see that. I have been busy. But before we start, Peggy, do you grant your permission for us to mention some of your medical situations here, right here on Medical Intuitive Insights and on future reruns all the way too? Yes?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yay!
You got it.
Okay. So
let me pickle if I said no.
Yeah, but that's okay. We could always, talk more about chronic fatigue syndrome, which of course is a very important subject to talk about today. I think most of us do suffer from it from time to time. So there are things we can do. But let me see. Peggy's situation. Let me pull up her photographs again, just so we have them here. And Peggy, I know nothing about her physical situation, her medical situation, or anything like that. Just her little bio about her show she does, and that's it. So this is something that she's never seen me do, and I don't want any information about a patient before I start. I rather just keep my ego out of it and let the good Lord guide me, as I would say. So she sent me front and back of her hands, the top of her feet, front and back of her clothed body, and her face, which, by the way, great photographs. You did an excellent job. And I am actually going to start with your back. Okay, so what I found was you have a lot of buildup of swollen muscle tissue in back of your neck going down into your shoulders. And it's actually, you've got some between C4, C5, and C5 ganglion, you have some compression there, a little nerve swelling, built up muscular swelling around those nerves, as well as the vertebrae and the discs. And then we go down to the cervical spine, which, if anyone doesn't know, it's in between your wings. I would have to say that's an easy way for people to understand. In between there, you have some muscle tissue that's swollen, going vertically as well as horizontally. But it's pressing up against your spine there, and I don't think you're getting enough circulation in that area, as well as in your cervical spine. But in your back, more problems to come. As you travel down the spine, you have a little scoliosis towards the lumbar spine, and swollen sciatic nerve coming down your right side. You have decreased disc space in your lumbar spine too. C3, C4, C4 to C5. It's a lot of the disc is actually missing in there. Things are disintegrating, and I think a lot of that happens as you get older, like we are, But I think that some of yours, I'm just going to throw this out there. Nurse, I see you lifting a lot of patients. I see things that you can't avoid in your profession. So we'll have to talk more about how we can make those areas better. There are things you can do even if you are lifting every day. Okay, front of the body, when I looked through that, I saw your lung tissue. Your lungs are actually getting a little smaller. I saw radial artery, right wrist. If anyone doesn't know, that's like right here on this side. And that's been narrowed. That's narrowed. Little slight occlusion in there. It's creating some swelling in the thumb area right in here. I see that it's swollen up. And if I go inward as I see it, I see a low level circulation as well as to these bones in here. And this is a concern. So then we look at okay, we were talking about your back before. I see a slightly tipped pelvis, where in this case it was, well, that was interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I can rely on this little, I noticed when you're in your front posture, your pelvis was slightly tipped where your left leg was down a little lower. The left side was dropped a little, but then when I saw your back, it was just the opposite. So, you obviously shift your weight around a bit. So I'm not going to think much of that. Swelling legs, lower limbs, lower limbs. That was always the question. You got upper limbs and you got lower limbs, and then you have the lower limbs. I see some swelling, ankles definitely, feet definitely. Bottom of your right foot is swollen. I see some bone spur starting up in there in the heel. I saw the more, it's the right foot. The left foot, you don't have a more circulation, but it's less padding in the heel bone, and I see a lot of strain. But I think your right foot is really, and your right ankle, going halfway up your calves, there's a decreased circulation. The artery breaks down into 3 sections at your ankle, and it goes down into 3 on your feet. And on your right foot, the outer artery is becoming blocked. You have an occlusion of about, and let me check your photo again on that one. I want to give you the right percentage. Okay, 40%. I'll give it 40%. There's, at our age, we probably have some occlusions everywhere in our body, here and there, but that's a little bit more than I would expect. That's more than what I would want for you, because I know you need to be on your feet. So, especially in your profession, God bless you for that. I'm also noticing in the hands, left section in this hand here, in this outer part, your low level circulation over here. I wasn't sure, I didn't look into it and why. Your artery coming up this way. Let's see if we can get that on there. Up this way and then up into your arm. That there is also showing some occlusion say about 25%. I'm noticing the fingers too. He's not getting the circulation they need as well. Hematology, blood oxygen was low. It could have been just when you took the photographs. I'm noticing your lung size, it needs to be increased. So let's just look at the root cause here. I'm going to flip over here because I think all of this is basically showing me the main thing is stress on human body, what I'm seeing in different ways. So if I was going to look at it and say what are the root causes, one is obviously your muscles are getting very tense, and that could be from lifting. It could be after you're done lifting or turning a patient or something. Maybe perhaps you're not relaxing those muscles. Could be a magnesium deficit. I would have to look further into it. And then I see the other thing is oxygen supply. The oxygen's not getting around your body as fully as it needs to for you to maintain your current vitality in your system, the chi per se, the movement around through the blood and circulation. So I'm going to mark that as two of the main root causes, but I'm also going to tell you now what can be done of it. And I'm sure you've got millions of things going through your head and knowing what to do. These are not the only things I've seen, but these are the things that I'm going to touch base on because it's a common situation, and I'd like our audience to know in case they need to know some of the things they can talk to their medical professional about. So deep breaths, deep breathing exercises. And that usually is three long breaths, lifting your arms up over your head, lifting your rib cage, dip back, add a little extra air, stretch out those lungs, get them bigger than what they normally are at rest, and then hold it to the count of 5 and slowly let it out. So 3 breaths in at a time, 3 times a day. Okay, 3 breaths, 3 times per day. And that's going to help. Plus, deep tissue, to even doing some acupressure yourself, putting your fingers in deeply and pressing down in, move those muscles around in your neck, it's interesting. People go like this when they are having like pain or stress, and it's like a natural way of healing that their hand is actually called to that area to press around and move those muscles around with your fingertips, try and release that stress and pressure. Same with the lower back, middle of the back. A lot of that is caused from sitting in front of a computer. It's just a fact of life, sitting at a desk, sitting in front of a computer. It targets that middle section, not the thoracic spine, in the middle section. So deep breathing, stretching. If you want to seek out for some acupressure or massage, just really take time to take deep breaths outside of your own work environment and just for you, deep breaths, relax your mind, relax everything. So do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I have to say that I'm a little surprised and perhaps even amazed about some of the things. But I actually, besides being a nurse, well, as a child, I played bassoon and flute, as well as string instruments, so that I had a lot of lung capacity back then.
Yeah.
But I've been an asthmatic since, forever. They called it croup at the very beginning. And we didn't have nebulizers and stuff then. My mother used to put me in the
Right.
hot shower, get the steam to help me open my lungs. But just a few years ago, I actually was hit by a truck and broke that ankle and foot. That's what surprised me. And as far as the whole pelvic thing and all, I've actually had 11 full-term pregnancies. I carried 11 pregnancies to term, but I only had 4 live births. So I'm sure that took a toll on my body.
And emotionally, I'm sure as well, physically and emotionally, don't even want to think about it actually. But yes. Yeah.
So, well, the kids that did make it through were all Ritalin kids, and so I can happily say I'm grateful that I didn't have 11 Ritalin kids. God knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Um, so it's and yeah, my hands are always. I'm also a survivor of uterine ovarian cancer,
Mm,
and the treatments for that sometimes cause osteopenia. It's like not quite osteoporosis, but your bones do break down as a side effect of some of those treatments.
yeah.
So, gosh, I feel like I'm more transparent than I like to be. We don't usually show that part. I don't think about the patients that I have to lift. I think about my 80-pound English bulldog, which I lift sometimes because he's
Oh
so
boy.
stubborn, doesn't
But
move.
he's so worth it.
It is worth it, yes. Um,
Yeah.
so I am, I'm surprised, and I think one topic I mean, the exercise, your advice was really helpful. It's helpful to all of us to do that. And at times, actually, I wear a posture brace if my back is really hurting. But you didn't mention water, and I'm a big fan of water being the cheapest medicine there is, and water flushes a lot of the toxins out. And
Oh, yes.
sometimes the blockages in your body and your circulation are actually just toxins that you need to be drinking more. None of us drink as much as we should be.
I
Uh,
fully agree.
so, have you always been aware throughout your life, or is this a skill and talent that you identified as an adult?
Oh, um, I personally was not raised like normal people. I was a very isolated child and by myself an awful lot, and TV was my babysitter. So I was raised in a house more than 100 years old. They wanted this. The neighborhood wanted to tear it down because they would see see these women in Victorian dresses going up and down the stairs, and nobody wanted to go near the house.
I was going to say
Well,
it must be haunted if it's that old.
they
Yes,
were my
I love it.
friends, you know? They protected me. The house was robbed several times with me in it, and they always helped me hide, and so I didn't build an ego like most people when I was young. I was more just an open vessel, and, I could see through people, but I thought everybody could. I think once when I was like a teenager or something, I saw the invisible man and I realized, hey, wait a minute. You mean to tell me people can't do this? But I could walk past things and I'd say things like, hey, why is it, you know, the blood's not getting in this man's legs or something. But I even did that to my neurologist once. I said, oh, he was wearing pants. And I said, hey, this isn't getting in your legs. You're not, something's going on here. You got occlusions. And he looks and goes, did you become a doctor? How do you know that? Who have you been talking to? And I'm like, no. It's just, and it really hit home, then. So I try to use my gift to help people in many ways. I became an epidemiologist. I worked in laboratories, medical research, pharmaceutical research. I've always done things like this. This is just part of what I do. As you probably know too, especially after raising your children. So when did you become a nurse?
Well, I was a special ed teacher. I have a journalism degree. I was a research chemist and an accountant and computer programmer in the early 80s. They said that's what women should do. Uh,
Ah,
I didn't like being confined to a little cubby and talk
yeah.
to computers and stuff. And nursing just happened. I had my third child in like 4 years, and my ex-husband suggested that he was an aerospace engineer that I should take off the year since I'm breastfeeding and save on daycare for 4 kids. And so I said, okay, well, while I'm doing that, I'm going to go over to the junior college and take a guitar class and brush up on my guitar.
Hmm.
And when I got there, it was in the early 80s. There was a nursing shortage. I wasn't aware of that at the time, but these like 1,000 people, literally 1,000, were camping in the hallways of the junior college.
Mm.
And I said, what are you guys doing? This is crazy. And someone said, well, there's only 100 openings, and there's 1,000 of us trying to get into the nursing program. I had no desire to be a nurse. I'm competitive, and I wanted to have one of those spots. So I
Wow.
obtained one of those spots, and then I had to tell uh, wasn't my ex-husband at that point, but I had to say, guess what? Now we need daycare, and I'm not going to be working to help pay for it.
Oh, well,
So
I'm sure a
things
lot of
worked out,
people were
yeah,
grateful.
as it meant to be. There's no coincidences in
Right.
life, and things happen the way they should be.
Absolutely. And we are going to have to take a break. So everyone stay right there. We'll be right back with Peggy, and hopefully our other guests will be coming on shortly. We'll be right back.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back to Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria C. Warren, and we have Nurse Peggy here, and as well as now Lana Pritzker. And Lana Pritzker has been with me many times before. I would like her to introduce herself, actually. She does it better than I do. Lana, go right ahead.
Okay, sure. I'm happy to be here. I am an analyst of personal and business development. And the reason I am an analyst because I love to analyze everything. It's a professional damage. So I analyze my family, the businesses of my clients, the emotional states of everybody, the weather, the planets, anything. But it's best when I'm asked a question, because just like Gloria, I am also reading the field through my body, but I don't have a medical intuitive expertise. We're all intuitive, and my mission in life to raise the energy of the people and the planet. Big mission. I'm doing well on that. My energy is high. Whoever is around me gets better. So that's where I come in.
Come stand by me today.
Very nice to meet you, Lana.
Yeah. Well, and then Peggy is a nurse, and she does a lot of different things. She has a show. And what is the name of your show, Peggy?
It's The Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith.
Right, and that airs on Thursdays, correct?
Yes, at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Eastern, yep. By the way, Peggy, I didn't ask you, how long have you been integrating the holistic approach into your practice?
I was aware that I was doing it for about the last 30 years. I realized after my mother passed away that I was actually raised by somebody who still cleaned with vinegar and did a lot of old-fashioned things that were actually, like when I wanted to dye my hair in junior high school, my mother, who was Polish by background, did not let me use hair dye, but she let me put lemon juice in my hair, and I had natural highlights that were just to die for. So
you knew holistic things really work.
I just didn't know it was holistic.
You did. Yeah.
I thought it was just, my mother's embarrassing me type thing, but
Well, I think all of our mothers do that from time to time. So, um, and there was one more question. This one is from Jacqueline. What holistic approaches do you incorporate into your practice?
That would be for Lana, or who's she
No, this
asking?
is for you, and then we'll move
Okay.
to Lana. But yeah, there were a couple
uh,
questions that came by when we were on break, so I just wanted to ask you.
Okay, I started off formally becoming a hypnotherapist, certified in medical pain management, and that happened around the
Oh,
time that I was going through cancer treatments. I don't tolerate medications well, and I wanted to be able to offer something that would keep people awake and alert, and more participating in their health if they were able to. Uh, I've been a Reiki master for years. I added energy medicine techniques, neuromodulation technique, tapping, just a whole bunch of interactive metronome I do for brain injured children and stroke victims. And just, I'm kind of the perpetual student. I have been, since I entered this earth, I think.
and
And when
wonderfully
you
so.
talked
I
about
mean,
how you were a child and could see things that other people couldn't see, and always questioning, I had this image in my head of that petulant little 2-year-old that's everything is why, and you just want to
why?
say, because I said so,
Yes, yes.
You were one of those kids,
So
I thought to myself.
going to mention chronic fatigue syndrome because that's I was seeing that in you, and that's something that that's why I picked the topic today was chronic fatigue syndrome. I just felt that it was something that you could benefit from, as well as our audience here.
Chronic
Lana,
fatigue syndrome is an autoimmune disorder, and almost nobody on this planet that has one autoimmune disorder does not have 5 or 6 at least. You're prone to autoimmune issues, and chronic fatigue is a very painful and common disorder. Uh, it, it's kind of because you have a depleted immune system that's just can't keep up with the demands.
right, right, and I think too, even if it isn't considered autoimmune at the same time, it could be caused due to long-term stress, can bring it on and create that syndrome. A lot of people, though, I know they have it and they just don't know what to do about it. Um, Peggy, what's your solutions you tell patients?
Well, first you want to make sure that your medical provider has covered all the bases and it's
Hmm.
not another underlying cause. Um, I also have chronic Lyme disease from rescuing animals, and they're all kind of interrelated as far as but a lot of it is your brain is very powerful, and you can overcome things, even seriously, debilitating things sometimes if you have the right
Hmm.
encouragement and tools. Energy psychology has been a kind of a shortcut. You could do something in 5 minutes that would take years of psychoanalysis. Uh, especially at this age of the spectrum, I don't have years
You
left.
don't have much time left, you're thinking.
Well, I
You want
have
it
lots of
done
time
fast.
left. There's a gentleman at my the nursing facility I work at. He's going to be 103 next month on August
Hmm.
25th. And
Nice.
I said to him, you're going to be 103 in August. He said, we're having a birthday party. He says, who, me? He said, golly jeepers, who would ever thunk? And I said, well, you're going to be at the party, right? I said, I've never been to a 103-year-old party. He said, I haven't either. We can go together.
There you
And that's
go.
the reason that man is still alive. He's got the right attitude.
Well, that's
Uh,
what I hope we all have as we move forward in life. Lana, you want to explain to people what is it you do that's holistic that could help people with something like chronic
Oh,
fatigue syndrome?
yeah, it's not what I do, it's who I am. Holistic means that you integrate everything that you are, all your past experience, all your future experience. Time is not linear in my perspective. So we always go through the milestones and obstacle stones, but milestones we celebrate and obstacle stones we grieve about. But the truth of the matter is we live in the holistic universe. Everything is present, the darkness and entropy and the light, and planets are dying and moving, and supernovas are exploding. So just like that, our body is also like that, living in a material plane. I go through a lot of different experiences. I was listening to you explaining what you went through, and all those experiences, of course, leave something in the body. So I, for example, also was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, Hashimoto, and the Lyme disease. And I do not live in the physical realm only. I truly believe that we are spiritual beings, and we've discussed it with Gloria at some point. We're spiritual beings, and our spirit moves the body. I am also 67, so I wasn't born yesterday. But as I go through life, I understand that our spirit, when it dwells in the body, creates a level of electricity that allows us to move faster, to move more purposefully. But when the electricity is lacking, and by the way, I'm not talking about esoteric terms, we do have measurements for the heart, for the mind, for the EEG, EKG. We can measure the electricity of every organ. And living holistically means that every organ has to work. So if something's not working, the other organs, just like in a team, start working much more. So first and foremost, I'm not a doctor, not proposing you any holistic solution or unholistic solution, but you take tests. These days, tests are available, and you can know what is not working properly, measure things, understand things scientifically. I'm very, very practical, and even though I'm a practitioner of gazillions of different things, I'm also an educator, and I am a master of education, and I'm a master of digital psychology. So for me, understanding the person starts with tell me where you don't feel okay, where you are losing the energy. That means something's not working properly, and then your body tries to fix it, and the body is miraculous. But when we do not give the chance, that doesn't work. So what I've done when I was diagnosed with a bunch of stuff, some of which was about cutting part of my body, a few parts actually. My mom had 4 surgeries. Was removed. I said, thank you very much for letting me know early that I have to take care of myself, because you understand, looking at other people, what might be happening, right? So I went to Optimal Health Institute in San Diego, where you only eat sprouts and drink green juices for 3 weeks. And after these 3 weeks, I was told, if you want to continue the results, you need to free your body of all the stuff that isn't there, which I did in 6 months. And after 6 months, my doctor said, there is nothing to measure. It's not there. So we're not going to cut anything because we cannot measure it anymore. Same thing happened with Lyme disease. Lyme disease is incurable. It stays in your body forever. I don't know if it's in my body or not because it's really hard to pinpoint. But what I've done with Lyme disease, I went again, only green diet, so my body does not use any energy to digest anything. And around me, I said, you can speak with me slowly. I'm not speaking slowly ever, but everybody else, I gave an instruction. Be nice, be slow, and let me breathe, because that's what we do for living. The rest of it is just a material. If you don't breathe, lack of oxygenation, you die. And so I used essential oils, specifically defense, I forgot, life defense or something like that, and from Young Living. And what happened, my body was saturated with oils. When I walk around, I only could smell oil because it came from everywhere. But at that point, Lyme disease was also conquered, and I could continuously living. Same thing happened with fibromyalgia. So what I do for people, I read their body. For example, I want to explain you, since you are not only the guest, but also a client today on the show. I know you can heal everybody sitting here. Yeah. So I just want to point out that you are a survivor, even though you went through all of that. In your birth matrix, you have 9. 9 is the energy of surviving, energy of guardianship, energy of the Martian masculine resilience. So no matter what happens, you survive, you move forward, you carry stuff. And you also have 2 number 1 in your energetic matrix, which is the leader. And when you're a leader of your personal life, you can lead others. Most of the people are not leaders in their life, right? They usually listen to other people, right? Diagnosis. So what I do for people, I don't believe in diagnosis, but I do believe in measurements. So if somebody tells me I've been diagnosed, I always say diagnosed is the number of different conditions. Let's see one condition at a time, and what can you do about it? And of course, I'm also a bioresonance technology, quantum touch master, matrix energetic master, what else? Wave maker coach, suicide master. I don't know if I start intentional creativity coach. It's not important.
I have
I
a
only
question for you, Lana.
okay.
In your holistic view of and your experiences in your own personal life, are you aware of your previous lives and what your roles were in those lives?
Yeah, I actually was also a hypnotherapist. I went through the
I can tell, and I knew
hypnotherapist.
that you did past life regression.
Yeah. Yes, many times. So I'm not going to tell you about everything, but I tell you about one experience when I went in and looked into how I came to this life. Because my mom said they were working on you, you wouldn't come out. So when I went through that experience, what I saw is the council of higher realms. They looked strange, most of them. And I saw myself at the moment of entering the birth canal. And they were saying, it's time for you to go. And I was saying, excuse me, not going. And so they actually pushed me through the birth canal. And it felt like a slide. I
It's
was
not your
sliding.
choice anymore. You made the choice before. Now you're here.
Exactly. They said, like, we've signed the paper, the contract, it's time to go.
You know,
So I came
Lana,
through, and it was terrible. It was terrible. I was like, why am I here? And for years, it was, why am I here? And then at some point, I understood why I'm here. I came
Yep.
here to nurture the children, the indigo children, the crystalline children, because when I came to sense of who I am, it was around 31, 32, 33. I started hearing these children in my practice. Attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity disorder. I wrote books about it. I treated hundreds of children because those are the children who are misdiagnosed, because those are different children. They're different from us. So that's
right.
what I can tell you.
So
But there were other
we
ones.
have a question from Christine. She wants to know, how long do your sessions last, and what has been the response from the people after your sessions?
It depends, because my sessions are usually based on the client's need, not my need. So it could be between an hour to hour and a half. Usually I don't go more than that because it's tiring. Sometimes a person falls into trance and spends half an hour, 45 minutes in trance, which is also healing because my energy is pretty high. But sometimes it's a conversation, sometimes it's a regression, sometimes it's a bioresonance. Most of the times right now, I'm not working with the illness because there is usually patient, illness, and the coach. So I'm not, I don't call myself anything but consultant and coach. And so if I'm working with the illness, patient is out there. So I'm working with the patient, and the illness is the doctor thing. For me, it's important to understand the background, the root of the cause. And usually when we go through hard experiences in life on the background, they're still cooking. They're never off the fire. And therefore our body is constantly fighting that. And the fight becomes so unbearable for the body that we have autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune disorder is something that actually your body tries to eliminate some things from the body. But we have memories. Long ago, the illness is gone, because every 7 years, every 9 years, our body restores itself. So the problem is gone, but it's here. And because we have psyche, it restores us to the same template again and again and again. So for me, holographic memory resolution, resolving the memories of loss and grief and problems and obstacles, really help the person. And sometimes it happens within the first 5 minutes, and sometimes you need a little longer time. The result is, for example, a woman came to me because she had an asymmetry. And the doctor, the chiropractor, was working on that asymmetry, nothing happened. And I was working with chiropractors, quite a number of them. Mm-hmm. And so this one asked me to see what's going on. So we did some things. She fell when she was maybe 7 or 8, like that. off the bicycle, and the problem was not the fall itself, but because there was also a dog that was scaring her, and the father was behind her. By the time he got there, the dog was there. So altogether, it was traumatic experience, not the fall itself, but the fear as she was falling. A millisecond before that event, the dog was barking, she was falling, and the father was not there to hold her. And when we resolved a couple things around that, she opened her eyes, and I'm like, how do you feel? And she says, and I'm like, okay, can you speak? What's your name? What year is it now? What is your gender? Because I usually need to bring people right in the present moment. And she says, I'm okay, but your room changed. I'm like, what? Your room was green, and now it's white. So as you understand, when you have a symmetry, there is a occipital ridge, there is perception through the eye, the whole face was out of whack. And so when that shifted, her face became more symmetrical. I wouldn't say it changed like that into full symmetry, but her face changed quite dramatically. But she started seeing colors in a different way. I was surprised because every client is different. I never know what kind of result they get.
I wish I saw more colors. No, I see it.
I
I have one more question from Tim, and he said that he had a severe streptococcus pneumonia situation 2 years ago. I haven't slept right since. He wants to know from Peggy, what would be your support that you would tell him?
My first thought as you read that is that took us back a couple years to, the active COVID stages. Many people had COVID and didn't even know it, but they have chronic problems as a result of that illness, that residual effects of that. And again, I push hydration, that helps get the circulation, gets the oxygen to the body. Anti-inflammatory foods, gluten-free, that kind of thing.
Turmeric.
And turmeric, yes, I take turmeric myself every day.
Love it.
But it's also always important just to make sure, which we don't have enough information for a full picture here. Was the gentleman ever a smoker? Or even maybe sometime in his life, some kind of inhalation trauma, like a fire, or could be as simple as a Boy Scout jamboree campfire. If you're asthmatic, I know when I went to college at a young age, I spent my whole first semester with asthma attacks almost, because my mattress was made of kapok. It was a rural college, farm country. My roommate and I, we must have had about 150 stuffed animals plus 3 parakeets in that little closet that we had our bunk bed in. So I had a lot of input, and you have to look at the total picture, but just basically exercise and learning to love yourself as you are is a big key.
Okay, we are going to have to take another break. This is Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Warren. We will be right back, and don't miss it. We're going to tie this up into a nice little bow for you. See you soon.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success. Master of words, powerful player. What life-changing words can Dr. Janet Smith Warfield pull out of her magical toolbox that just might mysteriously open a door you never knew was there? A door to free yourself from fear forever. Transform your rage into right action. Release your guilt. Position you into a life of freedom, purpose, passion, power, and peace. All quite suddenly, unexpectedly, and almost miraculously, with no effort on your part. Join Dr. Janet on Dancing with Words, Dancing with Wisdom, as she and her guests show you how words map our experiences, immersing you in a sound bath that relaxes your muscles, opens your mind, and supports you in co-creating your extraordinary life. Author, radio show host, and coach. Author, author, radio show host, and coach, John M. Hawkins, reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back to Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Warren. We have Nurse Peggy here, holistic nurse. She has a show tomorrow, actually. Is it 1 o'clock Eastern
1
time?
o'clock Eastern
1
Standard
o'clock
Time. Yeah.
Eastern time. Peggy, why don't you tell them on how to get a hold of you if they'd like to talk to you about helping them or getting some guidance about where to go and what to do?
Well, my email address is notjusthypnosis@gmail.com. You can
That's
keep
so
it simple.
true.
And I'm very open to questions. No matter where you are. So many of my guests are international. I have resources all over the world for whatever problem you might be experiencing. I'm happy to share that.
Wonderful. And our other guest here is Svetlana Pritzker. You may have seen her many times with me before. She's Lana to me, but if on the internet you can look up Svetlana Pritzker. And Lana, how would they get a hold of you if they want a session with you?
Yeah. First of all, on internet, Lana or Svetlana, you can find my website, energyforaction.com. I'm also on YouTube, on Instagram, on Telegram. You can find me anywhere you want. My number is 847-414-3730. You better text me because I might not answer just this moment, but I will answer 847-414-3730. And I want to tell you that energy is everything. And your body is the huge, big planetary activation point. And inside, you have all kinds of things going on. So you better keep it going, and you better keep it safe, secure, and energized.
Wonderful. And thank you for that information. So we have our next Life Connect retreat. It is the first week in December. It's going to be in the Yucatan Peninsula, Mayan Riviera. Actually, Lana will be there with me. She's going to be giving the morning walks and discussions as I'm overseeing some of that yoga. And it's an actual fountain of youth where you receive all the science, things that even physicians haven't heard of in this country. We're looking globally. All the sciences to help rejuvenate the human body, as well as holistic things that they can do. We have experts of all different types, keying in and providing information. And it would be wonderful to see you there. If you're interested, Fountain of Youth, Life Connect Retreat, 715-892-7500. Text is always best. And then medical intuitive reading, if you'd like to get a full reading, which is around 2 hours long. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that for Peggy here today, but you got a little sample of it, little taste. We do a lot with that, much more than what you've seen. So you can always text me, 715-892-7500. And trust me, it may be one of the smartest decisions you've ever made. Until then, though, let me say that, Lord, God of all beliefs, within everything that's good, help us during these disruptive times and help us now to turn our faith, keep our faith, have faith in you. We trust in you to guide us when conflict erupts, and we know that through your guidance, we will walk our path according to your directions. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. So God bless everyone, and there for the grace of God go I, as well as Peggy and Lana.
Well,
Have a
thank you
great,
for having me, Lana. It was
great
nice to
week.
meet you. And I'm
Nice
just
to
going
meet you.
to remind people, though, that I will see you tomorrow on my show.
Yep.
At 1 o'clock
And
Eastern
she's
time.
going to have me on her show tomorrow, by the way. So that's going to be
That's
interesting. I wonder
great.
what she's going to ask. So anyway,
I'll
so
try
um,
to, and I
I'll
also
see
have
you guys
I,
next week and maybe tomorrow on Peggy's show. Bye, Lana. Bye, Peggy. Thank you
I
so much
thank you
for
so
being
much for inviting me,
It
and
was
it
nice
was a
meeting
pleasure
you.
to be with you.
yeah.
This has been Medical Intuitive Insights with host Dr. Gloria Warren. Tune in each week as Gloria shares over 40 years of experience and yearns to provide knowledge derived from intuition and research. Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern.